Legend Total War here, and today we've got a Rating Your Doomstack video covering a Taurox the Brass Bull Minotaur Doomstack. So what we've got here are 10 Minotaurs with great weapons, although you could use any variant and it's totally fine, but I decided to go with Minotaurs with great weapons. We've got 8 Gore Bulls, 1 Brave Shaman of Wild, and of course Taurox the Brass Bull. Now I've renamed all of these guys here to have funny names, but I don't want to dwell on them too much, but if you want to have a laugh at them, you totally can. The main thing here is that the Gore Bulls and the heroes, they all needed to have the unsated bloodthirst trait, right? Because what that does is it provides weapon strength for plus 10% for Minotaur units, or units in the army, right? So each one of these is essentially accounting for an entire another Minotaur, because like, since there's 10 of them, well, basically we've got these guys at over 100% weapon strength, 100% extra weapon strength. So we could go with more Gore Bulls and fewer Minotaurs, but our DPS will actually get lowered at this point. So the right balance to have is like essentially 10 heroes and 10 units to make this work, you know, optimally. We've also got, of course, Taurox the Brass Bull. So he's essentially got the unsated bloodthirst trait because he provides the weapon strength plus 10% for Minotaur units. But then we've also got this down the melee line. He's also got Bloodcaller, giving melee attack to the Minotaur units. Could have gone down this line here for melee defense, but I really wanted to make sure they were just really hard hitters. And we've got Gore Feast here, which provides regen for Minotaur units, provided they've been in melee for 60 seconds. So these guys here can regenerate, but they can't revive dead models. Now we've got a really absurd amount of force here to deal with, and they actually might struggle with it. So let's send them in here and see how it goes. Now, if we attack this here, we're guaranteed an ambush. I could go into raid stance, but you know, then we'll be tired going into the battle. So the best case would be to just go straight to Zahutek. So auto resolve says that we're quite likely to get a win, but we'll end up losing a ton of units. We could always lightning strike. That would always be the ideal way to go about it, but we're not doing that. Another thing to note as well, these banners here. We've got 6 of them, and they're all on Taurox, the banner of Gorok. So what this does, essentially reduces their armor by a little bit, but gives them 40 extra melee attack and 50% extra weapon strength. So these ones here that have the banner, their weapon strength is like at 170% of their... well, plus 170% of their base. Now, 304 times 16 is like 4,800. That's how much damage potential they have with each one of their attacks, assuming that each one of them were a melee. So that's the equivalent of having 2 Kolek Sun Eaters with the Sword of Cain and maxed out. And we have 6 of these banners with these Minotaurs. Of course, the ones that don't have the banner are still pretty hard hitting, just not quite as hard. Now, we're up against a lot of force here. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff here that's going to do a ton of damage to us. We'll see how we go. So we definitely could have picked an easier opponent. Yeah, these guys are probably going to struggle most with melee infantry because this is an anti-large army. The Bastillodons, the Coatls, Pterodons, anything that's large are going to die super quickly to them. But any anti-large infantry that they have, which is a lot, is going to be a problem. So what I want them to do... okay. What we want to do is try to utilize our army abilities a little bit first. We are very vulnerable to missile attacks, right? And this is a dangerous enemy that we're going up against. We're not going up against 2 armies here, we're going up against 3. And what I want to do is try to just get rid of a lot of their ammo first, so that we just go straight into melee. Because if we just go straight into melee first, these guys here will probably still end up winning the battle, but they'll probably all end up dead. Right? So what we want to do is, let's use you. And just let them get organized, and I want to specifically snipe off armor-piercing missile units. So I'm not too concerned about salamanders. If we can try to get like their monsters over here earlier, that would be good. So chameleon skinks, not really worried about them. Can also use the Mantle of Gorok spell to get their weapon strength even higher, but unfortunately it's not an area of effect ability, so it only applies to one at a time. Alright, so I got this, but I think... oh no, that's all just melee infantry coming in there at the moment. Okay, just trying to decide where we're going to land this first attack. Like I said, we're going to draw some monsters over here, try to get them to spread out. Not a disaster battle, but that doesn't mean we have to fight it like an idiot. Alright, let's go in. So we're just going to have to eat this charge here. Now, because we're up against so much force here, we actually do need to take this seriously, so I'm going to use Devolve in this particular case here. Okay, kill the shit over here. Yeah, this one's taking a fair bit of damage. A lot of stuff here to be worried about. Let's get rid of this Coatl. Alright, let's get one of these down here, just to sort of delay their units a little bit. We can focus on getting rid of all their fast units. That'd be great. Keep that one there just to delay them. Also use this on that, that's good. Okay, we're taking a lot of damage, but we're dishing out damage as well. Getting some devolve down on there as well, just to lower their melee attack. Because with all of that melee attack that we've got, we still have to deal with the fact that we don't have that much melee defense. That's the big downside to the great weapons. Good, the Coatl's almost gone. So at the end of this, we'll try and see exactly how much damage all of these Minotaurs have ended up doing. Alright, they've got the regen now, some of them, so let's get the damaged ones back, just so they can have a bit of a rest. Try to stop them from shooting as much as possible. Come around over there, maybe. Got horned ones over here. Thing is now, we can't be using Arcane Conduit at the moment they cast a spell because it actually cancels your cast, so it kind of... They did nerf magic to some degree in this latest patch. Just can't, like, pump down all the abilities all at once. Alright, a lot of our Minotaurs have taken tons of damage. Isn't ideal, but not too many casualties yet. I really need to pull them back now and just let the heroes fight for a bit, because it's a lot harder to kill the heroes than it is the Minotaurs. They should all have the unsated, what's it called, the Gore Feast on now. And the good thing about the Minotaurs is that they are quite fast. We can pull them out of combat quite easily. Just want them to have a bit of a rest. So if you come over here, they can hide. They've dished out a ton of damage, but yeah, they've also had a ton of damage being dealt out to them. So that's a part of the plan as well. These guys need the opportunity to be given rest. Got to get them out sometimes. Come on. And that's what the heroes are there to do. There's a few guys coming in this way, but as long as it's not the bulk of their forces, it should be fine. Okay, this should be fine. They're not dealing with much there. The wizard's starting to take a little damage. So yeah, the Gorbals have all the defensive capabilities, but the Minotaur's got all the damage output. this guy here really needs a rest. Oh, that's gonna do a fair bit of damage. Fucking Coatl. Okay, luckily we got out of our formation pretty quickly. Then they did another one. Alright, they shouldn't have any more chain lightnings left now. Okay, some of the Gorbles are taking quite a lot of damage. You gotta get them all together. Kill that Quaddle, please. Okay, it was just a summon unit that got killed. It's okay, that's what they're there for. Here, have another one. Okay, as much as I want the Minotaurs to rest a little bit, man, these Coatls are giving me a really hard time. Fucking magic. Don't have to worry about anyone breaking. Oh man, we got some close calls happening here. Much better to put this down. Just him to give me a little bit of a break in the action. Okay, these two here, too much damage. Anyone that's at 5, get them back. Leave the others in there. Kind of hard to see what's going on. Everyone's just covered in blood. Let them recover some health before we send them back in. We're still fighting. They're still coming in. Okay, that's it. Just let them have a bit of a rest. Alright, enemy missile units coming in. Just let them rest. Okay, we got incoming over here. They can handle that. Charge in. Damn it, they got a kill. We got 2 kills. That's not good. Oh, my poor Minotaur units. Yeah, all the melee attack in the world doesn't really help. Oh my god, they killed it really quickly, but... Is that the army losses? Yeah, we inflicted the army losses. Cool. None of our units got completely wiped out. But took a lot of damage. Definitely took a lot of damage. Now, here's the thing. The other 2 Doomstacks that we raided, I don't think they would have won against this. I don't think the Gorgons would have won, and I don't think the Jabberslice would have won against this. We went up against more than 3 full stacks of very dangerous units. And don't forget, in the ideal situation, you'd be ambushing enemies. You'd only be fighting 1 army at a time. This is like the most unideal thing to be doing, really. Especially considering we had Lightning Strike. But you know, we just put it to the test. Yeah, he's got a special item that's doing that. It's not Sword of Cain. Well, they're not going to recover any entities, so running them all down at this point here is just going to heal these guys. Pyrrhic victory? Come on. Alright, yeah, you always get a Pyrrhic victory if you lose 50% of your army, which we did. Well, not necessarily. Didn't the auto-resolve say we'd get a heroic victory? No, it said Pyrrhic victory, didn't it? Yeah. It's just that it also said that we would lose most of our units in that battle. which we didn't lose any of them. We did take casualties, but we didn't lose any units. So it's just really important to cycle them out. So let's have a look at the damage output that we had. So it was a relatively quick battle considering how many forces we're up against. So this one here did 20,000 damage, 18,000, 23,000, 16,000, 20,000, 19,000, 19,000, 16,000, 17,000, 13,000. There are no units in this army here that would have had any like higher than like 12,000 health. So each of them killed off at least a unit. And if we have a look here, the Gorbals also did... Well, of course the magic's gonna get that many kills, duh. Yeah, Taurox is a heavy hitter. But yeah, so the Minotaurs dished out the most amount of damage apart from the Wizard. It's just they also took the most amount of damage. So the Gorbals aren't in that bad shape. And if they fought another battle, they could recover, whereas the Minotaurs would have to actually rest for a couple of turns. Now, if this had gone up against the two armies that we went up against in the other two Doomstack videos, I feel like against the Dark Elves, those specific Dark Elves, we would have wrecked them pretty quickly. Because there were a lot of Saurus Spears here. I mean, they did have Blackguard of Nagaront and Dread Spears, which definitely would give these guys here a hard time. But there was only 2 armies compared to 3. And, you know, it was only at the very end where I was starting to worry about them getting wiped out. So, I'd probably rate this 9 out of 10. Considering it was a lot of work to get all of this. This isn't something you could just, like, get straight away. Whereas the Jabberslith and the Gorgon Doomstack, the only thing I really had to worry about there was getting Dread, which was relatively easy to do. This is less Dread requirements, but required me to just keep recruiting and disbanding to get the Unsated Bloodthirst, and that just took a long time to do. So yeah, I'd rate it 9 out of 10. Largely losing points just due to inconvenience, and it does have weaknesses. The only armies that get 10 out of 10 are the armies that can beat anything and just not worry about it. So like the Wargore Doomstack, for example, that could have taken all of this on here, no problem. But again, I think those units are bugged. So I think 9 out of 10 is a pretty good score for this. It's a pretty fun army to use. If you don't go up against too much, like when you're ambushing and going like crazy, you could just keep this rolling and rolling and rolling, 10 battles every single turn, when you're playing as Taurox. So I think it's a pretty strong army, and I think it's pretty optimally boosted. I just can't see any way of really, making it any better, because, you knock off one Minotaur to get a Gorbal, Gorbal with Unsated Bloodthirst, and you still end up with about the same amount of weapon damage. That the weapon overall weapon strength that the Minotaurs had, because you lose a full unit. So I think that's optimal there. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think of this Doomstack and any way that you think that this could be made better. But you guys will have access to the new DLC in like a day, so you'll be able to test this stuff out yourself, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with. Anyway, that's the end of this one. Appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time, fuckers. Bye.